Arsenal are on the verge of a major signing. But who is this top Bundesliga striker being lined up to strengthen the Gunners' attack? Lunin has finally made a decision about his future at Real Madrid. And it's heating up in the Vlahović saga. Which European giant is ready to spend big to get him? Meanwhile, tensions are rising at Barcelona. Is Ter Stegen clashing with the club's board? What's really going on behind the scenes? All that and more in today's episode. Let's get into it. But first, the usual drill. Hit that like button. Yes, you, the one thinking, here we go again. If we hit 500 likes, job well done. Liked it? Brilliant. Now, without further ado, let's dive into the transfer rumours. The Dusan Vlahović versus Juventus saga has officially reached a whole new level. In short, the lad has clearly decided it's time to stop just playing football for a club and start playing as the manager of his own career. And to be honest, he's absolutely smashing it. Here's the situation. Vlahović took a look at his contract and noticed a rather magical detail. In the 2025/26 season, his salary jumps from 7.5 million euros to a whopping 12 million euros. So he thought, why on earth would I leave now? Genius. According to Corriere dello Sport, he's made it clear to the club he's no longer at the center of their project and has now adopted a self-described defensive stance, putting his own interests ahead of the club's. Yes, that's actually how he phrased it. It's poetry. For context, he's already turned down a move to Mourinho's Fenerbahce, and according to some whispers, he's told friends that nothing, not even an earthquake, could move him this summer. The plan? Crystal clear. Sit tight for one more year, collect 12 million euros, then walk away as a free agent in 2026 with a massive signing bonus. Respect. Cold-blooded move. Meanwhile, in JUVE's offices, absolute panic. They're watching their £70 million investment turn into, well, absolutely nothing. And now begins the circus. Discounts. According to Give Me Sport, Juventus are even willing to sell him to Tottenham for a mere £20 million. Threats. La Gazzetta claims Juve are considering the Chiesa method, basically freezing him out of the squad entirely to force a move. Leave nicely. Or enjoy a season of sitting on the bench, polishing it with your trackies. And what about PSG? Arsenal? Manchester United? They're sitting back in the front row, popcorn in hand, watching the chaos unfold. Why pay now when you can wait a few months and either buy him for a bag of crisps or grab him for nothing next summer? United, as always, are monitoring the situation. But let's be honest, they're always monitoring anyone with two working legs and the ability to strike a ball. So, what do we have here? A classic Mexican standoff. Vlahović has barricaded himself with his contract, with time as his main weapon. Juve are trying to smoke him out. Threats in one hand, discounts in the other. This is no longer about tactics or formations. This is a battle of egos, wallets, and stubbornness. And right now, it looks like the Serbian striker has the lead. So, here we go. Anywhere? Very unlikely. Manchester United are reportedly eyeing Real Madrid's goalkeeper Andre Lunin, and on paper it seems to make perfect sense. Ruben Amorim reportedly has doubts about Andre Onana, while Lunin, despite an impressive campaign, once again finds himself playing second fiddle to Thibaut Courtois. Let's start with the biggest obstacle. Lunin himself. Despite the hopes and dreams of some United fans, the Ukrainian isn't looking for a way out of Madrid. According to all the top Spanish sources, including Marca, Lunin is fully settled at Real. His family is comfortable in Spain, he's signed a long-term contract until 2030, and he's looking forward to working under Xabi Alonso. From his side, there's no rush, no pressure, no hidden plan to leave. In fact, Lunin has set very clear terms. The only way he'll consider leaving Madrid is if a can't-say-no offer comes in. That means a guaranteed starting role at a true top-tier club. And, with all due respect, United, fresh off failing to qualify for any European competition, don't exactly fit that description at the moment. Now, even if Lunin were interested, United have a major issue on their hands: Andre Onana. If United can't guarantee Lunin the number, one shirt, there's no deal. And as long as Onana is still at the club, that guarantee simply isn't possible. The Cameroonian's big wages make him difficult to shift. Monaco showed interest earlier this summer, but reportedly backed away once they realized how much he's earning. So here's the trap. United can't sign a new goalkeeper until they offload the old one, and they can't offload the old one. Then there's the financial side of things. According to reports, United, working through Jorge Mendes, are willing to bid around 15 million euros. Real Madrid, they're not interested in talking unless the price is at least 20 to 25 million euros. And you know what? They're under no pressure to sell. Lunin may be the backup, but he's one of the best second-choice goalkeepers in world football. Madrid value him, and they see United's offer not as a negotiation, but as a joke. One club is bargain hunting, the other isn't even entertaining the idea. Put all three of these factors together. The player doesn't want to leave, the buying club can't offer what he wants, and they won't spend what's needed, and the picture becomes pretty clear. This rumor, it's just that, a rumor. Something that sounds nice on social media but doesn't hold up under scrutiny. Another headline filling column inches rather than a real credible deal in the making. And maybe, just maybe, it's one more reminder of how deep and complicated the problems really are at Old Trafford. It's official. Thomas Partey is leaving Arsenal. His contract has come to an end, and despite weeks of negotiations, the two sides simply couldn't find an agreement. This isn't a scandal. It's not a public war, but it's still a quiet, painful farewell to one of the key pillars of Mikel Arteta's project. Why is a player who made 52 appearances last season, scored 7 goals, and anchored the midfield walking away as a free agent? The answer, according to The Athletic, lies in the fine print, in the breakdown of those final talks. Arsenal were, in fact, open to extending his stay, but only on their terms. And what does that mean in practice? Likely a short-term deal, maybe 1 or 2 years, and probably on reduced wages, taking into account Partey's age and injury history. It was a pragmatic, forward-thinking offer from the club, but from Partey's perspective, things looked very different. After finally putting his injury struggles behind him and delivering arguably his best season in an Arsenal shirt, he clearly felt it was time to capitalize on that form. He wanted one last big contract, long-term security, recognition, reward. He had earned it, and he wanted the club to show they believed in him the same way he'd proved his worth to them. But in the end, the two sides were simply too far apart. Arsenal were thinking in terms of risk and the future. Partey was thinking in terms of respect and stability. No one was wrong, but they couldn't find common ground. And just like that, an era in Arsenal's midfield comes to a close. It's hard not to look back. Partey's dramatic arrival from Atletico, the frustrating early years where injuries kept pulling him back, the moments when, fully fit, he was an absolute monster, dominating the midfield, controlling the tempo and making the system work. His resurgence last season felt like a renaissance, which makes his exit even harder to accept. He's not leaving on a decline, he's leaving at his peak, leaving behind a massive void in Arsenal's midfield. So, what now? Well, it's both a problem and an opportunity. Let's be honest, trying to replace a player with his quality, experience and understanding of Arteta's system won't be easy, or cheap. But the silver lining, Partey's departure frees up a significant chunk of the wage bill, giving Arsenal breathing room to reshape the midfield, potentially bringing in someone younger, more long-term and more aligned with the club's future planning. It's a classic case of short-term pain for long-term gain. Partey leaves with the respect of the fans, but also leaves behind a complex challenge for the sporting director. The search for his replacement has already begun. Right now, we're witnessing one of the ugliest sagas unfolding at Barcelona. And at the center of it is Marc-André Ter Stegen, the club captain, a long-time leader. A man who's given everything for the badge through triumphs and total chaos. And now, incredibly, the same club is trying to kick him out, in a manner that stinks from a mile off. Let's rewind to how this all began, with a quiet betrayal. Nobody in the Barça boardroom felt it necessary to tell their captain that they've already lined up his replacement, in the form of young keeper Joan Garcia, and they also planned to keep Wojciech Szczęsny at the club. Ter Stegen, by all accounts, was completely blindsided. And when he did what any professional of his level would do, refused to simply walk away, Barça launched into one of their favorite old tricks, a media smear campaign. Almost instantly, leaks appeared in the press, suggesting Ter Stegen had caused problems before the intermatch. A classic PR tactic from the club, one they've already overused in the past. Remember Frenkie de Jong? But that was just stage one. Next came the undermining of his status. Reports began surfacing about the captain's armband, that the club might strip him of it, just to make it public that he's no longer part of the project. And then comes the final act, the dreaded meeting with Hansi Flick, scheduled for mid-July. He's been handed the unenviable role of executioner. His job? To tell Ter Stegen face-to-face that he is now the third-choice goalkeeper, and that he should forget about game time. The message is clear: you're done here. It's over. The plan was simple. No world-class goalkeeper, especially with the World Cup just a year away, would tolerate this kind of humiliation. But Barça clearly underestimated who they were dealing with, because Ter Stegen didn't fold, he dug in. And what he's using now is the most powerful weapon a footballer has in a fight like this: his contract. A contract that runs for 3 more years. The club even offered him a so-called dignified exit, a soft landing with a full salary payout for next season. But Ter Stegen refused. Instead, he fired back with an ultimatum that sounds almost like satire. He will only leave if Barça pay all 3 years of his contract in full. In other words, you wanted war. You've got one. Now pay for every single day you've tried to disgrace me. This is now a full-on battle of attrition, and no one's coming out of it looking good. Barcelona, once again, are showing the world how they treat their own legends, and every move they make damages their reputation even further. Ter Stegen, meanwhile, risks being frozen out of football and potentially missing the World Cup entirely. But one thing is clear: the club picked a dirty fight with someone holding all the cards. Every serious club heading into a transfer window needs 2 things: a plan A, and more importantly, a well-thought-out plan B. And it looks like Arsenal, who are clearly fixated this summer on landing a top-level striker, may already have their backup plan in place. According to Bild in Germany, one name is lighting up the Gunners' shortlist: Eintracht Frankfurt forward Hugo Ekitike. From a footballing point of view, he looks like a near-perfect fit for Mikel Arteta's system. Ekitike isn't just a big target man waiting in the box. Far from it. He's a dynamic, mobile 23-year-old who can lead the line alone or operate in a front two. Constantly on the move, stretching defenses, causing chaos between the lines. His key strengths: pace, technique, and a real threat in transition. He's smart, makes dangerous runs in behind, and last season he was ridiculously effective in front of goal. 22 goals, 12 assists, elite-level numbers. No other way to put it. Speaking of stats, roughly 80% of you watching this video still aren't subscribed. Now, that's not quite 22 goals, but it's still a crazy stat. Click that button, it costs you nothing, and for me, it's the best assist you can give. Right, back to Ekitike. Arsenal don't just see him as a goal scorer, but as a player who fits the whole philosophy. Fluid, positional football built on quick combinations and high movement. But here comes the cold shower. The reason he's still being treated as a plan B and not a first-choice target? The price tag. Frankfurt, understandably excited by his ridiculous numbers and all the Premier League interest, have slapped a price on him that's well over 100 million euros. And this is where the dilemma begins for Arsenal. Can you really spend your entire transfer budget on a plan B, especially when you still need to strengthen midfield and possibly the wide areas too? It's a massive risk committing that much to a player who wasn't even your primary target. And to make things tougher, Arsenal aren't alone in the race. Chelsea, Manchester United, and Tottenham are already circling, and Frankfurt know it. They're not just open to a bidding war, they're counting on one. There will be no discounts, no deals here, only a full-on Premier League auction. That leaves Arsenal at a real crossroads. On one hand, they've identified a striker who tactically fits their system almost perfectly. On the other, the reality: a 9-figure price tag and a full-blown transfer battle against half the top 6, all for a player who isn't even their first choice. So, at this point, the question isn't, is Ekitike good enough? We know he is. The question is Plan B really worth over 100 million euros and a summer-long war for his signature? Right now, it looks like one very expensive insurance policy, in case Plan A falls through.